Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to sell your soul?
The station that brought you trawler fishing can be fun. All you need to know about pins and hang gliding in a chest of drawers presents... what's his name?
I don't know.
And now, the man who makes Doctor Who look like a small brown stain. It's
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
We've got to talk about the Amber Ruffin show on Peacock TV. Don't know who this comedian is. She kind of reminds you of a poor woman's version of Kid and Play from the 90s. Remember those two dudes? Very funny guys. I even like the Kid and Play films, the house party movies. So I want to talk about this very quickly because honestly, this feels like it's an attack on, how can we say, white people. Just say it like that. It is what it is. And again, you know, if it's a person of color attacking another demographic, the person of color probably thinks they're not being racist by calling out those other folks, and I find that very disingenuous. But you got to listen to this because I think it's really, really cringe.
I loved it. But some people got very mad. And before that, the Lord of the Rings spinoff featured a black hobbit, and some people got very...
Yeah, played by a shit actor who didn't mind advocating racism back in the day.
With the weird lines and things, I think is great. But first, I'm going to show you some of my own work this week, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I did this morning a self-portrait.
Very mad. So, why are people getting mad at mermaids and hobbits? Well, I'll tell you in a segment called How Did We Get Here?
I think we got here through science and biology. But hey, what do I know?
A few weeks ago, Disney released their first trailer for the upcoming live-action Little Mermaid movie starring actress Halle Bailey.
Never heard of her. Sure, she's a lovely person, but never heard of her. Sorry, Halle.
Some people reacted to it like this.
She's like
This.
me!
Look at Ariel! What?
Yeah, she's brown.
Oh, she's brown like you. Such an observant little child, isn't she? But why didn't they get like a group of multicultural kids together to watch the trailer, or maybe get a black kid and a white kid together and give their point of views? But it's so staged, you can kind of tell that the mother who's like, oh my god, it's a black Ariel. I'm pretty sure Peacock TV went around and saw her and said, look, here's about $500, just act like you're really excited for this. You probably are anyway, and then we'll be on our way. It's so... I hate this. You know, why don't you just go out on, why don't you do like a vox pop and go out on the street, you know, meet random people and say, what do you think about this new version of Ariel coming out next year? I bet you'll get a split divide across the lines about who likes it, who doesn't. And by the way, people are getting so excited for Little Mermaid. Let's just go to the official Disney channel at YouTube. 1.2 million upvotes, still 3 million downvotes. And the thing about this trailer, which again, I didn't spot it at the time, but if you watch a bit of it here, I mean, what's missing? There are no bubbles around Ariel. I mean, surely when you're swimming, there's meant to be bubbles all around you. Aquaman, for as dumb as that movie is, at least the underwater sequences, we saw bubbles everywhere. In fact, Jason Momoa and James Wan even made a joke about talking underwater during the course of the filmmaking of that particular movie. So The Little Mermaid, I don't know if this is actually going to score $1 billion at the box office. I doubt it very much will. It'll probably end up making $500 million at the box office, and then it'll go straight onto streaming afterwards. As far as I know, this is probably going to be a mainstream film at the cinema, but Disney, if you're thinking of doing that, it's not going to bode well for you. So going back to Little Miss Tuffet here. Hey, you know what? When I was this kid's age, I was excited about seeing Spider-Man on the TV, the cartoon. I was excited about seeing Bill Bixby as the Incredible Hulk, Starsky and Hutch. Oh my god. Those are white folks. I can't watch them. Fortunately, I had some very cool parents who didn't mind what I watched as long as it was entertaining. Isn't that what we should be talking about here, folks? That's what we should be addressing. If it's entertaining, regardless of who's playing who on the small or big screen, Isn't that enough? Apparently, according to Hollywood, and this idiotic woman here, I'm not you, love. I'm talking about Amber Ruffin. But it's funny that she picks this reaction from Matt Walsh, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
And some people reacted like this.
From a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent.
Now, the thing with The Little Mermaid, it is based on Hans Christian Andersen, a Danish dude in Denmark. And Disney had no problem translating that story into the animated feature back in 1989. So I don't quite get now why people are seriously trying to erase the past and failing miserably.
We remake a couple of other classics, this time using an all-white cast. I say we remake Roots.
Yeah, you know what? You should do that. You should get a white Black Panther. That would be absolutely hysterical. Hell, why not just get Blade, played by the great Wesley Snipes? And by the way, how is the new Blade going with Mahershala Ali? Oh, that's right. They have to rewrite the complete script before filming starts next month. Isn't that terrible? They removed the Indian film director because I'd like to know what issues he had with this script or what Marvel were telling him to do. I'm guessing they wanted to put a lot of wokeology in the movie. Mahershala Ali may walk off the project. I'm speculating that he might. I hope he does. But yeah, you talk about taking a beloved character and you want to race or gender swap them. It's not going well, is it, Hollywood?
To back it up, a study from the Journal of Communication says that in romantic movies, white people showed, quote, significantly less interest in seeing movies with mostly black casts than in...
It depends. Again, the reason why I couldn't stand the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever trailer, because it is just so cringe on so many levels. And despite being attacked for that video, and oh yeah, keep the views coming for that, it's awesome. I don't care. I don't have to side with everybody because it's a movie for a specific demographic of people, even though it's meant to cater for everybody, and it probably does to some degree. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean to say that I'm racist or whatever. I just have a particular thing that I like from films that genuinely will entertain me from the beginning. But seeing that trailer for Black Panther 2, I have no desire to see it. I even have an African friend of mine who says that she's watched it and she's a normie. She doesn't want to watch it either. She agrees with me.
And seeing movies with mostly white casts, which is crazy because if you didn't watch movies with black...
Yeah, that's why Bridgerton is a load of shit, because people are being turned off by it because you know what they're doing in that show, right, on Netflix. Thanks so much for that, by the way.
Casts, then you're missing the single greatest cinematic moment of all time, which of course is this.
Yeah, it's called Blade, 1998. I don't actually know what this film is. Everybody's going, yay! I have no fucking clue what this film is. Is that meant to be Angela Bassett? I have no idea. Why are people cheering this? She's setting a car on fire and she's walking away. And it looks like a cheaply made movie as well. Is it Set It Off? I have no idea.
One study found that when white people watched videos of non-white people, their brains registered as little activity as when they watched a blank screen.
Really? So as a non-white person myself, I have to remind you of that. I know you're an intelligent audience out there, but some of you might be having a few misgivings about me. Now, the reason why I say that is because over the course of my years growing up, I would actually have people of color looking down on me because I was speaking with an almost faux, posh English accent. Never quite understood that. I was called a coconut, and yeah, if you want a translation of that, it means white on the inside but brown on the outs. Yeah, you know what? I'll just take that as a compliment, actually, because it means you're fucking jealous and get on with your life. But what she says here is actually completely stupid, because I can watch a Far East Asian movie, I could watch an Indian movie, and yeah, even though I'm not brought up in the Indian sense, I'm westernized, it doesn't mean to say I'm feeling left out by watching it, or I have little activity when I'm watching it. That's a very ignorant comment to make. Of course, the University of Toronto, Scarborough would be the ones to come out with this. I mean, oh God, really? Are these genuine studies, folks? I mean, why are they being highlighted here?
I know, man, which means when I do this, white viewers can't see me.
And that's because you look like a fucking retard, Amber. Oh no,
All those white
Friends.
executives aren't immune to the empathy gap. They want to see people who look like them, so they end up greenlighting shows that look like this or like this.
Yeah, because Friends and Sex and the City, I know I'm bringing in Sex and the City into the argument here. They were good shows back in the day. Actually, produced by men mainly. Obviously, there were some key women behind those, but Darren Star, Sex and the City, and Friends, David Crane, Marta Kaufman, two fantastic people who made Friends. And I remember when Friends came out in the 90s, I was like, wow, I like this show. I was so desperately trying to copy David Schwimmer's French crop. I'd actually go to a hairdresser's in Oxford Street and get the lady to do it for me. And yes, I actually wore Ross's wardrobe as well. And he wasn't a black dude who inspired me. He was just a white guy on the screen. I just found his antics really, really funny. So when it's almost like when she's picking on Friends and Sex and the City, there's a hint of jealousy in the way she looks and the way she speaks about them. But then by the same time, the BBC had their own version of Friends called Coupling. There's some really hot actresses in there like Gina Bellman and Sarah Alexander. I fancy the hell out of those ladies. And again, there were white chicks and white blokes on there. I loved it. I didn't have any problem with it at all because it's not my problem to have a problem with that sort of entertainment. It's there to entertain.
White people, if it feels weird to you to have a black mermaid, imagine how weird this felt to us. It's a show about a bunch of white people who live in New York who still managed to have fun in a coffee shop, even though every single person of color had been purged from New York City.
Wow. So are we going to attack Frasier as well for not having enough diversity in that show? That's what they went out to do in the 90s. This is what was going to sell TV subscriptions, get people to sit around on a Friday night, have your water cooler moments. The next week on a Monday at work, we'd always talk about Friends. Back in the day when I worked at the Warner Brothers retail store in Regent Street, I would actually help to get episodes of Friends over to our AV room, our audio visual room. So we'd take out all the stock onto the floors, and then probably about 9 or 10 at night, we'd all sit in the AV room and watch the latest episode of Friends before they actually came out on Channel 4. So that was really, really good fun back in the day. But, no one in the group of friends I was with were ever moaning about the lack of diversity on the small screen. So again, Amber Ruffin, I would say you might be a nice person, but I can tell you're quite vindictive and a nasty piece of work. So let's just carry on.
Just seeing different kinds of people on screen helps empathy grow.
The thing is, we do have different people on screen. There's lots of diversity in Hollywood. You get mixed race casts, you get everybody in certain films. In the 80s, in the 90s, you have a mixed eclectic of people in different projects. Why does nobody know this? Why do people actually disregard this information now? I don't get it. You can get any action film from the 80s, put it on. Look, you talk about diversity, look at Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bill Dukes, Carl Weathers. You got that mix right there. Or you'd have Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover, Mel Gibson. Go through your lists and see, look, Officer and the Gentleman, Richard Gere, Lou Gossett Jr. Naming these off the top of my head, folks. So if they're sticking in my mind after all these years, what does that tell you? Eddie Murphy, Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop. What a badass poster that film has. And Eddie Murphy wasn't even the first choice for the movie. It was Sylvester Stallone. It was Harrison Ford. They all turned it down. Although Sylvester Stallone actually accepted the role initially, changed the character's name to Cobretti, which later became Cobra, and then Eddie Murphy took his place and and look, I can't imagine Axel Foley not being played by Eddie Murphy. If anybody else took over the role like Chris Tucker, I might give Chris Tucker a little bit of a pass, but he's still not Eddie Murphy. And so there you go. But I guess, why aren't you celebrating that success, Amber? Why are you just bad-mouthing what white people are supposed to think like when, do you want to put yourself in their shoes? Really? Jeez.
Recent studies showed that exposing white people to black faces increased white participants.
Exposing white people to black faces. So I guess Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder might not go down too well these days, even though they're making a sequel to that film, which is going to be awesome. So wait a minute. So more white people went to see an all-black movie because the reviews were positive. Huh. I can't say I've ever heard about that in my time. So Vampire in Brooklyn, I never saw it at the cinema. Did a lot of white people and black people go and watch that film together? Maybe. The Hangover in 2009, definitely marketed as like, you know, the white bro dudes getting together. But I remember mixed race people or mixed races of people were in the cinema having a great laugh at the antics of Bradley Cooper and the boys on the big screen. So I tend to disagree with that comment quite a lot. That makes no sense. Where are the receipts? Where's the market research demographic on this? How many people did you question to get these findings? I swear they make up this data on the fly, don't they? It doesn't seem to be actually rational or real at all. So folks, I'm just going to leave it here before actually taking an imaginary gun and blow my brains out, because tonight I'm watching Invasion USA with the great Chuck Norris. I'm looking forward to watching that. It's funny, I've been going back to the 80s and watching the great action heroes of that time. I'm actually going to make a video about that very soon, where that's concerned, and it's just so refreshing. Even if you go back to entertainment as far as 2017, which I did today with a particular funny film which I'd never seen before. I wish they had a bigger cinematic release back in the day, but I will be talking about it. And that I thought when I was watching that, I was like, oh my god, I was seeing things in this film that wouldn't be acceptable in 2022, which is an insane thing to even think about. Ncuti Gatwa as the new Doctor Who. I was willing to give that guy a bit of a chance. Then he came out with that diatribe on the red carpet about how we need more diversity in entertainment. He's going to be Dr. Woke. He won't be Doctor Who, because I'm dreading to think what Russell T Davies has dreamt of to make the character 20 times worse than what he is at the moment with Jodie Whittaker. And it's kind of funny that, you know, she's sitting here talking about white people this, white people that. You know, what about when she's talking about positive women in the industry, you know, of all sectors, of all races. So if you enjoyed this quick video today, folks, make sure you leave a like, you get your boomerang out, and you smack that subscribe button. And if I were you, I'll check me out on my next review.